players, the personalities who come from around the world to play professional soccer in the United States.
Go, go, USA! Oh, it's incredible!
In a world where some call it football, football, or soccer, they dare to call it foosball. One thinks New York is blue, the other thinks New York is red. Soccer in America from a German perspective. Let them put some sauerkraut on your hot dog and join them for the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
Some of us think New York is blue, others think New York is red. Yesterday, New York was light green because the New York Liberty won their first.
I was gonna say,
won their first
New York City
WNBA title.
New York City is buzzing right now as far as sports because
Yep.
the Yankees made the World Series,
They did.
right? Mm-hmm. The Mets almost made the World Series. I was here in LA. It's buzzing because the Dodgers made the World Series.
Yeah, it's Yankees versus Dodgers. That's the biggest thing ever.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna watch that. I think. Oh, that'll be fun.
Me too.
And then I was indoors when it was happening. I was at a rehearsal, and I kept hearing like shooting and yelling and stuff. And I was just like, I'm going to use context clues, and realized the Yankees just made the World Series. So that's what we got going on here. But in New York, you had the Liberty, you had the Yankees, you had the Mets, and then above all that, you had the New York Red Bulls.
And New York City FC. Yeah, so many.
Yeah,
teams.
that's probably what people were talking about more.
I was there yesterday, Barclays Center, Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. And
so these are the finals then, right? So who are the Liberty playing against?
The Minnesota Lynx. It's over.
So they won officially.
They won officially last night in Game 5, 3-2. I mean, it was a thrilling series. Every game was close and in different ways. But last night it just was. They made it so hard on themselves. It was just poor shooting throughout. It was very close. Went to overtime again. The Lynx thought they got shafted by the referee. There was some controversy, but anyway, in the end, they won. And Barclays Center was hopping. I gotta say.
Yeah. Can I guess that right at the end of the game, they played that song? Was it Beyonce or Rihanna? Who's the one? Or Michelle Brandt? Whoever. In New York.
Alicia Keys and Jay-Z. Yes.
Did they play that song?
They did. They actually had a mashup where they had Frank Sinatra.
I was going to say it's the other one.
And they had a mid, but they cut this into the midsection of it.
Nice.
But yeah, the WNBA has taken off.
But you know what the big story of this is? The fact of how big of a deal. Because like you're talking about it, my other friends in New York are talking about it. I've had 3 friends in New York who are going to the games and talking about it. And the WNBA is a league that gets nothing but ridicule. And so I used to be part of a comedy theater, and there was a sketch where they made fun of the WNBA, and pretty much there was like this news report where it's like, oh, what a great service. How do I sign up? And they're like, no. Actually, this is a professional league. You know, like the WNBA is up for criticism. SNL has made sketches and blah blah blah. But I love that.
It's changed. But it's changed.
Which soccer had a lot to do with, by the way. I think the U.S. women's national team had a lot to do with this. The women's sports are being taken much more seriously. And I love that the New York Liberty were able to take over New York City. And when was the last time WNBA took over New York City?
That's never happened because the Liberty have been in the finals. This was the 6th time, and they've lost the previous 5. So, I mean, there's the WNBA, and then there's the New York Liberty. That was a particularly troubled franchise. They started playing at
they were at MSG,
Square.
I thought, right?
Initially, but then they've moved around. They played in Radio City Music Hall at some point. They played in Westchester. Those were the darkest days. They played in Westchester.
How do you play in Radio City Music Hall?
You're saying it's not a venue that was designed for basketball? Well,
isn't it just a big theater? I'm confused.
Well, apparently you can fit a basketball court on the stage at Radio City Music Hall.
I would like to have gone to that.
And then you can just look at it from one side, yeah.
But
those were not the darkest days. The darkest days when they were playing in Westchester somewhere. So they have seen some dark days, and they've been around. They were an inaugural franchise, 1997. Sue Wicks, Rebecca Lobo, and Sue Wicks. I remember this. I went to a couple of games
remember Rebecca
early
Lobo.
on, and
They
Rebecca
were guest
Lobo.
stars on the Cosby Show.
Rebecca
Very
Lobo
famous
is
Bill
now
Cosby.
was doing the broadcast for ESPN, and Sue Wicks was in the front row, and was just celebrated. I mean, I'm a Fairweather fan. I got sucked into it over the last couple weeks because it just kind of became a thing in New York, and the vibes. I went to Game 1 and Game 5. And the vibes were great. I mean, it was just an amazing atmosphere, much better than the couple times I've seen the Nets play in the same building. Things are a lot quieter. But this was exciting. The team was clearly the better team, player for player, but they really struggled. So it took 5 games. But yeah, I was saying I'm a Fairweather fan. I just got on board for this playoff run. But there were people there who have supported this team since '97, and this was the first time they won anything. So there were some tears.
Both of them were there. Both of them were there.
However many, I don't know.
Good for both of them.
I don't know what the numbers
Tom
are.
and Eddie have been there every day, and good for both of them.
Anyway, the reason I bring this up
Can I
is
ask you a question?
This is what soccer wants to be, right? Wait, what's the question?
Is there a parallel between like a women's league, like a starter league in 1997, coming up, seeing better days, folding franchises, relocating stadiums in the city, and then here we are 30 years later as life evolves, taking over a city, being a big deal. Is there a parallel between the New York Liberty WNBA story and any other American sports league?
I mean, that's why I'm bringing it up, because I think there are some
MLS
parallels.
baby,
To
MLS baby,
to
decision
MLS.
day. Like
Decision
I
day.
said, people aren't going to talk about Yankees and Liberty anymore when they see the 2 New York teams make a run.
But the parallel, I think, the parallel that you can make is there is a. I mean, for MLS, it's Messi, and for the WNBA, it's been Caitlin Clark. She's a phenomenon, and she has gotten an incredible influx of interest for this entire league. And her team did not make it very far. They're very young and still kind of gelling. So it wasn't like she was part of this, but just the whole league just has been getting more attention. And I think it's similarly the case for MLS, thanks to Messi.
We haven't gotten to that place where it is an American domestic player yet, Landon Donovan was that example, but he was niche. He was just the star of the niche. He didn't really break mainstream super hard. But we'll get there. But the fact that we have Messi, he's very mainstream. People are talking about him. And you know what's funny? So Inter Miami and Lionel Messi broke the points record. They had 74 points. And, you and I don't really care because it doesn't mean anything. However, I've seen it on Sky Sports. I saw it on German media. It gets talked about on mainstream, like other types of football media and sports media. It has this little thing that's like broken through. And I was like, whoa, this is getting them in the rounds. Look at him go. Look at MLS go. Look at Miami go. Look at Messi go. And it is 100% the Messi effect. The Messi effect is the gift that just keeps on giving.
It is.
However,
Daniel Young, by the way, I'm sorry. He's what points out another piece of relevance for the Schnitzel Boys podcast is there's 2 German women on the Liberty, Leonie Fiebig and Niara Zabali, who had a great game. She has not played that much for the team, but she got 13 points off the bench yesterday and had a big game. And Leonie Fiebig is a rookie. She's 24. And she basically she got the first 3-pointer in overtime, which in my opinion was the biggest shot of the game. Yeah, so thank you for reminding me, Daniel. There is a German aspect to this as well.
The Schnitzel ladies.
The Schnitzel ladies.
Well, then we got to get them on the pod. And,
I'm sure they're just waiting.
Talk about football for now.
They're just They're just waiting for a call.
Yeah, I'll find the number somehow. But anywho, the Lionel Messi
Decision day
just keeps on giving. We had this. Oh, but I was gonna say you and I are not Fairweather MLS fans though. Like the Dodgers, the World Series, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna be a total Fairweather fan. I've never seen a game in my life. I can't even name one player. maybe Otashani, whatever his name is. I think that's probably about it. And I don't even. I'm sure I
Shohei
got that
Ohtani?
wrong too.
Aaron
Shohei
Judge?
Ohtani.
Aaron Judge? Anyone? Come on now.
Yeah, I know Aaron Judge, I guess. But who will be the judge?
Juan Soto? Giancarlo
See, I'm not-
Stanton?
Those are two guys. It's already two guys past my knowledge there.
All right.
And if you asked me who Aaron Judge was a minute ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you he was an LA Dodgers player.
However,
I will know them now.
He's a Yankee.
Oh, he's a Yankee player.
Yeah,
Well, who does
I'm
Ohtani
naming-
play for? He's played for the Dodgers or the
He
Yankees?
plays for the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, he's ours. Him I know because he
Mm-hmm.
used his assistant to bet on himself or whatever the story was him. But anywho,
Well, okay.
you and I are not fair weather fans.
I
We are experienced fans, and how much value do you give to the record breaking Supporter Shield team when it comes
Oh,
to
who
winning the
cares?
MLS Cup?
Who
Yeah, almost
cares?
none, right? It
Almost
almost
none.
never happens. When
Plus,
LAFC
they never-
did it,
Plus, they
it
never
happens.
win. Plus, they never win. They never end up winning the cup.
that's what I'm saying. It never. I'm saying like they're cheering now, but it's like, yeah, but the MLS Cup winner is the winner of the year. So who's that going to be?
You
And
got
it's very rarely
you're
the
number
Supporter Shield.
4, right? The Red Bulls are number 4, right? Or 3 or 4 in the all-time points record list.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
That shows you I
So,
don't really care.
see, you don't even know that.
Yeah.
So who cares?
We have
Nobody
3
cares.
Supporter Shields. I know that, and we have one MLS.
And
Cup
one of
alum.
them was the points record at the time.
Oh, good for
And
them.
then you got
Yeah, that was probably the Jesse Marsh 2015 one. I'd imagine. I think. Right? Maybe. I don't know.
that I couldn't. I think it
But
was
also,
more
it's
recent,
unfair
but,
because up until 5 years ago, it was only 30 games, or so. There's 4 more games. The 4 more
this
rounds.
is not. It's insignificant.
Yeah, the other thing
Well-
about it, I was watching Sky Sports England talk about it, which shows you how crazy this is. And they were talking about it on Sky Sports football news in England. And their MLS expert was like, they made 70 full points. They broke a record. And then it's like, oh, wow. But I wanted to like call in or like cheer in and be like, yeah, but they never played LAFC or LA Galaxy. Or remember, if they did, they played them once. It's like they got all these points not playing the other best teams in the league, because they stick to the East. And it's like, imagine if Man City won the English Premier League title, but they never had to play Arsenal or Chelsea for it. Anywho. So that's just the Americanness in me.
Yeah,
but the reason
that's why the Supporters Shield doesn't quite get the play.
But they weren't talking about it specifically because of the Supporter Shield. It was just part of the bigger story surrounding Inter Miami these days. And is it related to the FIFA shenanigans you want?
FIFA shenanigans.
Yeah.
We've been having this difference of opinion, I guess, maybe. Although I don't know if that's even still true about the FIFA World Cup. You're saying it's the FIFA money grab, and
I think it's a terrible sham and shouldn't happen.
It's a terrible
and you're really
sham and
excited
shouldn't
about
happen. And I'm saying, oh, it's kind of cool, and I'm looking forward to it. But this did not. This definitely helped your case more than mine, because when Inter Miami won the Supporters Shield, which really does not get a lot of play here in the U.S. as a title, and set
Well,
the
it
points
gets
record.
you the CONCACAF. Isn't it like a CONCACAF
It does, yes, that's true.
qualifier or
It is
something?
that is true.
Yeah.
It is a CONCACAF qualifier.
That's going to do the CONCACAF.
But then apparently when this happened, FIFA president Gianni Infantino appeared, like basically as if having emerged from a magician's hat. Gianni Infantino at this Supporters Shield celebration makes an announcement that this now qualifies Inter Miami not only for the FIFA Club World Cup, but they're going to host the opening game at the Hard Rock Stadium. Thanks to thanks to what? I don't think it was ever.
He was going to make that announcement whether they wanted or not. I mean, he was there.
I mean,
right? He's like, oh, thank God they won. I could use it to justify this a little bit.
It was just completely ridiculous. So this was not. We didn't know ahead of time that this was not about. I mean, this is obviously.
Johnny knew. No, Johnny
let's
knew.
Not be,
We didn't
let's
know ahead of
not be. Let's not be
We
dumb
did know ahead
about
of
it.
time. We did know ahead of time. We knew Inter Miami was going to get that host slot when they announced it a year ago.
Yeah, because of
Everybody
Messi. Because of Messi.
Right.
And so
They
they were
couldn't
going
say
to
that
find a
loud.
reason.
They found the reason.
And I guess And they didn't even say, "Oh, it's because of the supporters." It's like you're the best team, and so we're just appointing you. It's the host nation slot they're getting.
Meanwhile, Columbus Crew is about to win MLS Cup and be the best team of the year, but they don't get a spot, even though they're probably more deserving of it. What I will say is MLS is weird because it takes forever for the teams to make the tournaments, So the other team is the Seattle Sounders. And they're not the same team they were when they were winning, So
the others, they gave the other spots to the CONCACAF Champions Cup winners of the last 4 years.
Right, and especially when MLS is a lot of turnover. So the team from 2 years ago is rarely anything resembling the current team. If I could design it, and they had to, Stefan, you have to pick 2 MLS teams, I would pick Inter Miami. So that's actually, despite all the criticisms of it, it's actually
it's not a question that they're deserving to be in this. It's just the way that this is kind of like, oh, by the way, and this was not MLS making this decision. This is just FIFA.
Right.
And so, I guess I'm coming around to your point of view that this is all pretty ridiculous.
But if you had to pick 2 clubs from MLS, what were the 2 you'd pick?
2, I would pick Inter Miami and NYCFC.
Well, that's a little biased. I would pick Inter Miami and either Columbus Crew or LA Galaxy or LAFC. Those would be the 2 I'd pick. I'd probably pick LAFC and Inter Miami because it's the Eastern winner and the Western winner. And they're just 2 solid teams. That's how. And in my opinion, that's what always was flawed with the FIFA Club World Cup and the CONCACAF Champions Cup for us, because in order to get to the FIFA Club World Cup, it was like 12 months removed from when you would have won the league. So the MLS clubs every year, they have very busy off seasons. A lot of players want to go to Europe, So it's not like in Europe where Bayern München and like Manchester City and Real Madrid can keep like a dynasty of players moving forward. MLS clubs rarely have that.
Seattle didn't make it past the Saudi team in the play-in round, so it's not like
we'll see how they do this summer. We'll see how they do this summer.
We'll see.
If it even happens. But by the way, Bjorn.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Sky Sports report I saw, that's only half of the craziness. You want to hear the other half of the craziness?
What is it?
So the question this Sky Sports report was asking, back on the question theme, was, will Lionel Messi play against Cristiano Ronaldo in the FIFA Club World Cup? And Lionel Messi's there now with Inter Miami, so that part of the equation is done. This is the interesting wrinkle of the Cristiano Ronaldo equation. Al Nassr is not qualified for the tournament. However, FIFA have introduced a special transfer window for 2 weeks before the tournament starts that players can sign for clubs and have this tournament be like their first tournament. These clubs, these FIFA Club World Cup clubs, can buy players right before the tournament starts for the tournament.
So Ronaldo's gonna play for Pachuca?
He's gonna play for Seattle Sounders or whoever. I don't know who, but they can literally sign him on a month-long loan.
They could play
and
together.
Just have him be there for the summer. I was saying, if I'm Inter Miami,
sign for Inter Miami.
If I'm Inter Miami, that's what I do. I mean, there's no way the MLS rules could allow. I don't know how MLS rules would allow that, but if I'm Inter Miami, I do that. I'm like, screw it. And FIFA would love it. MLS would love it. Miami would love it because FIFA right now needs marketing help, and FIFA is going to do whatever it takes to get Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi in that tournament.
And it would be the first time that somebody gets sent off for fouling a player on their own team.
Yeah, that'll be fun. If I'm Jorge Mas or whatever, I'm on the phone with Garber and Gianni. I'm like, dude, I could make this happen. Let me make this happen.
I think it seems like that's the direction we're headed with this whole operation. So
it's a WWE style Vegas soccer show.
It's becoming. It seems like we're scripting. We're going to script this whole thing.
Neymar's triumphant return.
Yeah, Neymar's gonna.
Cristiano Ronaldo
is gonna. Neymar is gonna come out of the locker room in stoppage time for PSG, but then he's gonna take his costume off, and it's gonna turn out to be old Ronaldo.
Yeah, I'd root for that.
And he will score the winning goal.
And then eat a full rack of ribs right in front of him.
And then eat Ronaldo's leg.
Ronaldo's leg. Anyway, so the FIFA Club World Cup shenanigans continues. And also, will it happen? Will not happen. The FIFA Pro strike was fought, you know. I mean, I imagine it will happen, but it's still, you know, in the stadiums. The other thing is that in the United States this summer, there's I think the FIFA Club World Cup is happening on the eastern side, right? And the Gold Cup's happening on the western side or something. Because I get a lot of games here in LA, but some of the Club World Cup games are in LA, but only in LA. They're all in the eastern seaboard cities except for LA as like a satellite. So that means I'll be able to see games. Maybe we'll see. I'll check out Red Bull Salzburg versus Al Hilal. Why not?
Why not? That's a banger.
Of course I won't. Of course I won't.
It's a cracker.
That's a cracker. But yeah.
We have time to talk about all this because decision day, a lot of stuff was already decided, right? There wasn't a whole lot going on. We found Montreal qualified by beating my team with Atlanta United.
Who?
That was the
No, hold on, don't skip. What? Who destroyed NYCFC over the weekend? What was his name? Say his name.
Joseph Martinez.
No, his name is Caden Clark. New York Red Bulls, RB Leipzig, forgotten prospect who's technically still in the books. I honestly forgot he existed.
This is really the reason this happened. The reason this happened is because of me. Because I jinx us. Sometimes. I make fun of. This has happened before, where I make fun of second-rate or over-the-hill strikers that come off the bench for MLS teams against us. I'm like, ooh, Corey Burke, I'm shaking in my boots, and then they score. Or things like that. And in this case, I made fun of Caden Clark because he gave an interview saying, Caden Clark, his career is not
Red Bull
going
Pride.
great. He was Red Bull Pride. He went to Europe. He was supposed to go to Leipzig. This didn't work out.
He went to Leipzig. Yeah.
Whatever. But then he went somewhere. Where was he before Montreal? Vancouver?
I thought he went straight to Montreal, didn't he?
No, he was somewhere else where it also didn't work.
Minnesota.
So this is like Minnesota, yeah. So he's been bouncing around. His career has stalled. Now he's doing well in Montreal, and he was talking crap about us. He was like, "Oh, he's still bleeding red. He's still a Red Bull at heart, so he still hates NYCFC." Yeah. And I was just like, "This kid's not very bright."
Turns out he's the brightest star on that field. Goal and assist.
So I jinxed us. He had a goal. He had a goal and an assist. He smoked Thiago Martins on the left. Thiago Martins, who was like we keep being told is so good, and yet you could make a pretty impressive reel of his blunders this season.
You should.
And but he was an all-star, and he's an all-star, and he's a DP. But yeah. Anyway, and then
I did a highlight reel once of Patrick Klimelak. So frustrated. I think I put it like push it to the limit or whatever. And it was just him missing and hitting posts because the guy never scored any goals.
He's like, it's just, because you talk about the state-run media of it, but they have this list of players they're supposed to hype. And it was Santi Rodriguez at some point. And this, Thiago Martins was on that list, I think. Because he's a DP maybe, or I don't know why they do this. He was an all-star, which I don't know. I'm like, how is he an all-star? But
he's got the right agent.
I wouldn't, I'm the homerist of homers, as you know. But I wouldn't have said, oh yeah, Thiago Martins. Like, I was like, huh? Okay. But
they should be pushing Jimmy Sands and Keaton Parks.
I think so. I would say so. Jimmy Sands, I think, was an all-star one year, I believe. Anyway, yeah, those are my guys. But so we
made it, Bjorn. You and I made it. We made it over the line. This dang regular season, which takes too long, is finally over. I've been trying to get it over a few weeks now. I would be happy with a 30-week regular season, I think.
And and we ended up in 6th place. Worst case scenario, really. We had a chance. I thought that we didn't really have a chance at 4th because I thought for sure Orlando would beat Atlanta United, but they didn't. Atlanta, shockingly, really, made it into the
They're in,
playoffs
babe.
because nobody else could win a game. Philadelphia lost, DC lost at home to Charlotte, and so Atlanta sneaks into the 9th spot. And if we had beaten,
how the mighty have fallen. The
we
Worm,
had
both Philly
beaten-
and DC were eliminated from the playoffs this year.
yeah,
DC
And,
are other rivals, and Philly, the little, we call them the Worms. They're a little
yeah,
confident,
they're
a little too
gonna
confident
need
themselves.
they're gonna need a little overhaul. And so
rebuild.
yeah, anyway, so we ended up in 6th place, but we could have, if we had won this game, we would have been 4th, and then we would have had 2 home games potentially instead of 1. Now we're going on the road to Cincinnati on Monday, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm
All right,
just
Bjorn.
I'm not feeling optimistic.
I mean, it was up for us. It was Cincy or Columbus. I think for you it was Cincy or Orlando, right? Wasn't that the thing? And I wanted Cincy, but you got Cincy. So you guys got
We
Cincy.
got Cincy.
Good for you.
Well, I would
Both
have
on the road.
wanted Orlando if we were in 4th and we had home
Right.
home field. Then I would have preferred that over 6th place. But,
Okay, let's do the rundown. So Decision Day is over. We're finally in the playoffs. I love the playoffs. It's the best part of the year. They play harder because there's something to play for. And it's just a lot of fun. I just love the playoffs. MLS playoffs, baby. Okay, we've got Inter Miami versus the Atlanta or Montreal Dealey.
Montreal's
I have
hosting.
to give that one.
This is
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Well, they're hosting Atlanta United, right, for the play-in.
Yeah.
And then the winner of that plays Inter Miami. So you got Inter Miami versus Montreal / Atlanta United. That'll be fun. I'm very curious if the Atlanta United one wins that because of Tata's old club and his new club. Who do you give that one to?
That's hard to say. I mean, Montreal's been on a roll, so I'm gonna say Montreal.
Over Inter Miami?
Wait, over Inter Miami? No, the play-in
Yeah.
game. I thought over
Yeah, I mean,
Atlanta.
let's just skip the playing game. We got
Oh,
so
well,
you're thinking Montreal.
I'll give it
and
to
then go play
Miami.
Miami.
Whoever they're playing, I'll give it to Miami.
So Miami's there. Rebels, Columbus. Who are you giving that one to?
Columbus. Sorry.
I hate to say it. I think it is Columbus. NYCFC, Cincy. I mean, you're a homer.
mean,
but like,
I'm a homer, so I'm gonna say us, but I'm not optimistic.
and then Orlando, Charlotte.
Orlando.
Orlando. Okay, let's go to the West. We have.
I mean, I will say, I think in general, with these 3-game series, the home team has a huge advantage, and so I think the
Right.
home team will prevail more often than not. If I had to pick, I think we are perhaps the most likely road team to make it. I would say
Well,
of this.
we just hosted Columbus at home and lost. They beat us at home, and now we have to play them 2/3 more times. So it's like if we can't beat them at home, I mean, we're not
Yeah,
gonna
I
beat them
mean
in Columbus.
they are just they're tough. Yeah. So
Columbus
and
are a tough
Cincinnati's been in a bit of a slump, but I mean I just don't think our defense is playoff ready. So
Nothing's changed though. The 2 best teams in the East are Columbus and Miami, and the 2 best teams in the West are the 2 LA teams. So if I'm an expert, if I was a betting man, I would bet on those being the final 4. And then who makes the MLS Cup and who wins the whole thing between those 4s in typical MLS style? Kind of a toss-up, right? It's
hard
like
to
whoever
know,
gets
yeah.
the better.
I mean I
final
don't
here.
believe, and I said this before, and this kind of played itself out on Decision Day. I don't believe in the Galaxy as much as these other teams because they're just defensively so sketchy, which is why they're in second and not in first, because that was the most dramatic. I mean, other than Atlanta making the playoffs at the last second, LAFC overtaking the Galaxy, who only needed a tie at home to Houston,
Yeah, and Houston got their win to give them into 5th
and
place.
LA gave up a pretty cheap goal at the very end. Yeah, I just don't think the Galaxy. They're going to run into their defense is going to lose them a game somewhere.
Yeah, I mean all that did for the Galaxy is instead of playing Vancouver, they now play Colorado or something.
Well, but
I don't
if
think
they are in the final, like you're saying, then they wouldn't play in their stadium. That'll make a difference.
Yeah, that's true. They'll play it depending on who they got. I mean, if anybody other than LAFC, they'd host it. But on the West, we had LAFC are playing the winner of Vancouver and Portland, the Cascadia rivals. You're gonna give that one to LAFC, right?
Yeah.
And then Colorado to the Galaxy, which will be a fun game. Colorado with their American force doing okay. But
Well, they
got the
had
Galaxy
I
with
think
their
Georgi
Marco Voice force.
Georgi Mihailovic just he got carried off in a stretcher with a pretty bad looking injury.
That's not
So
good at all.
if they don't have him, I definitely don't think they'll have a chance.
The American Marco Voice, Georgi Mihailovic.
The new American, yeah. And then we have
Minnesota versus Real Salt Lake.
Salt Lake has cooled off some, right? They were pretty
Let's check out the last few results.
they were much closer earlier.
They beat Vancouver on decision day. They beat San Jose, but like you said, that doesn't
they had a
count.
lot of
It's both
ties
home.
lately. Yeah, they
tied
were
Minnesota, they tied
contenders.
Austin, they
They
tied
were
Portland.
contenders for a lot of the season, but they only won 3 out of their last 11. So
Yeah, so this is your upset. You're saying this is where Minnesota can claim.
I
an
think it
upset.
could be. Yeah, I think Minnesota's coming in a little hotter, so I think that could be an upset. Yes.
And the last matchup is the FIFA Club World Cup bound Seattle Sounders versus the U.S. Open Cup champions, the Houston Dynamo. That's pretty tight.
Okay.
I'll tell you. I might even give that one to Houston. I might give that one to Houston. Maybe. So coming off that win against LA Galaxy.
Perhaps.
A little momentum, but there's definitely
Yeah,
more room
the
for
West
momentum
is-
in the West. Than
West is
the
a little
East.
tighter. Yeah, I would say so. I think between Miami and Columbus are a little bit of a big in a different tier from everybody else in the East.
So let's do a check-in. We'll do it every week. Who do you think, with your brain, not with your heart? So NYCFC is excluded from this. Who do you think is going to win MLS Cup 2024? If you had to bet.
I think Miami, if everybody stays healthy, I don't think. Yeah, I think they have shown that they are a cut above. Yeah, in terms of and if Messi is playing, I mean, yeah, you're gonna bet against them.
No, I agree. Inter Miami is it. And if Inter Miami wins the MLS Cup, will their inclusion in FIFA Club World Cup be justified?
Well, it's not that it's not justified. I don't have a problem with them being there. It's just the way it happened. It's just sleazy.
Because we knew it was sort of decided ahead of time.
Right.
But also
Well,
Inter
it was just
Miami,
kinda,
they're all over
appointed.
35, but it's 4 of the best players who's ever played in the league playing together, and they're loving it. It's a force. It's a gale force. It's hard.
Yeah,
to,
I mean,
it's a real. If they're focused, and Messi, he scored a hat trick and 2 assists against Bolivia over the weekend. Messi, he's ageless. He's an ageless little alien.
He scored a
creature.
hat trick just coming off the bench in like 10 minutes. I mean, he's just incredible. They have a similar problem that the Galaxy does, in that they're also defensively
Top-heavy,
vulnerable. Drake Callner let a shot kind of trickle through his legs against New England. New England had the lead twice, but it's like it doesn't matter if you score 6.
Right, you score 6.
Score
that
6
doesn't matter.
goals. You can let in a couple. It doesn't matter.
And Messi definitely wants to tie. And what's easy about MLS or good about MLS for a guy like Messi, it's like all I have to do is turn on for the next month to win the league title. You know, he took a lot of the summer off. That's part of this Miami story. Is Messi was injured for a large part of it. You know, it was Luis Suarez picking up a lot of the slack. And but for these guys, it's like it's a mini tournament. And it's like all we have to do is be on for the next few weeks, and we have a long vacation, you know, and we have a title, and we're heroes. So let's do it. And I think they'll do it.
And if they all stay healthy, then yeah, it's got to be them.
Yeah. What if Messi and Suarez and Busquets and Alba all get like injured in that first game, for like the month? They all get like a month-long injury, and it's like, well, all right, that changes the
That'll be
equation a
different.
little bit.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
it'll be different.
honestly. You said my team was excluded from this, but I honestly do think that we have matched up with them pretty well historically.
So have we. We
so-
had that terrible home loss, but we had that great home win. We beat them 4-0 at home, then lost 6-2 away. And I think that our record is we both scored 6 goals against each other, I think.
But we would have to. I mean, now with this new, if we had finished 4th and we could have beaten Orlando using our home field advantage, and then Miami next, I would have been like, oh, that'll be interesting. But now we'd have to go past Columbus first, most likely. And
I'm really high
I
on
just
Columbus.
don't.
You know that.
I just
They're-
don't
they're-
see it. I just don't see us. I don't see us playing Miami again this year.
Yeah, I don't predict too many upsets in the East. I do think it's going to be a Columbus Inter Miami Eastern Conference final game. It'll be a fun game, and that's pretty open. I think Columbus can get their number because they do owe it at some point. The West is more open to some changes, I think. But definitely the East, I predict Inter Miami and Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I said, I think the Galaxy are vulnerable to upsets, and I mean, LAFC. They're now that they weren't all that great all year either. They had their midfield was vulnerable to some. They were figuring it out. So I don't know. Yeah, well,
and something we never talked about.
something
was
weird's going to happen.
They re-signed Carlos Vela over the summertime. We never even brought that up.
Yeah,
But remember,
weird, huh?
he took. I think what happened was he took the longest amount of break time he could to before he could resign again. So he finished last season,
He was like,
and it was
oh,
all
you
like, is he
can
going to
only-
San Diego? Is he going to San Jose? Or where's he? Is he going to Mexico? Where's he going? And literally, we all thought he was retired, I guess, because he wasn't going nowhere. But then,
was like-
surprise, surprise, over the summertime, they re-signed him for the second half. Pretty much, he's only going to play for LAFC for the playoffs.
He was
He's like, I'll
if
do
you
another
only-
playoffs for you guys.
If you only got 500 grand, then I'll only come for a month.
Right. I think that's what's happening. So good for him. But that's extra reinforcements for them and a dude who knows how to win and a club legend. So they have that Carlos Vela factor as well. But LA Galaxy have the Marco Reus factor. Is it time for Marco Reus to finally win a title in his career, Bjorn? Finally?
Yeah, I don't think. I'm not betting on the Galaxy. Definitely not. Unless he's gonna play center back, then maybe.
Well,
I mean, that's what happened to
like how
Schweinsteiger.
Bastian Schweinsteiger did
When
it.
Schweinsteiger, he was like, "Yeah, I'm a midfielder, but clearly this is the biggest problem." So, so he played center back. So if Marco is that unselfish, then maybe he will win a title.
Well, the LA Galaxy center back is a 34-year-old
He should
Japanese
bring.
veteran.
He should
I
bring
like
Mats.
him a
He
lot.
should have brought. He should have made like Messi and bring along Mats Hummels.
Yeah, but Mats Hummels isn't his friend. He needs to bring friends with him. Mats Hummels is no one's friend. Germans don't make friends. You know that.
because they're so negative.
They're so negative. No, only Barca boys are friends. Like Bastian Schweinsteiger, I guess he had friends. Like Thomas Muller and the boys could maybe come by. If Thomas Muller came to LAFC, he could probably bring Lewandowski out with him, and maybe even a Mats Hummels. Who knows? One can wish. I guess the only other thing to
Then
talk
Pep
about.
Well, there's the other FIFA shenanigans. FIFA shenanigans
Oh.
Part 2.
The one
this
I don't
is,
know. Please tell me.
Well, on December 22nd, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona would like to play a La Liga game in Miami.
That's right. That's right.
Your thoughts?
And remind me what I forgot. Did they said it was legal or illegal? What was the ruling?
Well, I mean, this is really if you're gonna go right into that right away. I mean, I don't think this is really news. It seems impossible that this could happen in 2 months, because there's many legal hurdles to clear. So I don't even actually know why this is news, but I think this is sort of making the rounds. Barcelona are renovating their stadium, Camp Nou, so they've been playing a few miles away. And that's not going to be ready till next year, so they're looking for places to play. They're also always looking for extra money, Barcelona.
Yeah, that's probably what's driving this.
And so
But
that's
what is-
really what's driving it. And they've been trying to do this for a while.
But hold on, Bjorn.
Yeah.
The legal hurdles, not in this country.
They're
Like the forces that have been preventing that-
including this country.
The
Traditionally,
forces preventing that is just one guy, Don Garber. Other than that,
no.
the United States, whenever this happens, it's definitely just all politics, but soccer politics. It's Don Garber trying to quash it because, he's protecting his league or whatever. And Don Garber, by the way, I guess something else we talk about, had a couple of fun quotes himself at a big conference he was at over the weekend. But pretty much, if I'm there's inherently nothing illegal about coming to America to make a buck.
No.
America
There's
is
three
built for that.
levels. There's 3 levels of legal hurdle. the first problem that they initially had when they tried this in 2018, 2019 was the Spanish FA, RREF or whatever there, who was at the time run by Rubiales, who is
jail now or whatever.
who is is he in jail? He's definitely disgraced, and he left for trying to make out with the women's team after they won the World Cup.
on the
He had to he was stepping down, but he had a Real Madrid connection, and so he shut this down because this was a Barcelona plan and an Atletico plan, and so he kind of blew this off. But since he's gone now, the FA is more friendly, so they are considering it. The league president Javier Tebas.
Yeah,
He
Tebas.
wants this. He's been pushing this for years. Fans are not necessarily in favor, but he's been trying. And now the Spanish FA is perhaps in favor, although they haven't made an official ruling. Now, the second problem was FIFA. FIFA used to say, or still says officially, this is a no-go. You can't play league games, official league games in other countries. But
Even though
apparently
there's
there's been some,
exceptions historically.
there are some exceptions here. Not a lot. I wouldn't say a lot.
Well, I think it's
So-
related to the fact that there's one league, one country. It's like, well, Welsh clubs play in England and Canada and USA. And New
Well,
Zealand
yeah,
and
that's
Australia.
right. But I mean, that's the league that they're in. It's not like the Welsh.
Yeah, it's a
league
different
or something.
situation.
It's
But,
different.
but there's precedence
So-
of foreign clubs playing competitive matches in countries that are not of their own.
Sure, but it's not. But not generally. So, and there's other reasons than just financial. I mean, Monaco is part of the French league because they're in a tiny country, or Liechtenstein, etc. So yeah, but FIFA has traditionally said no. But apparently that problem is in the process of being solved because they have, Relevant Sports is the company that wants to put these games
Right.
on. They've been
Charlie
working with La Liga.
Stolitano, former Metro
and,
Stars general manager. Charlie Stolitano.
and they have this lawsuit, right? They have this antitrust lawsuit against US Soccer and FIFA historically, but they made a deal with FIFA to exclude them from the lawsuit and
Right.
presumably in exchange for them considering this. So FIFA has said that they would consider revisiting their rules about this. So potentially, in order to avoid this lawsuit, they have perhaps made promises to Relevant Sports that this could happen. But they have also said, we're going to form a committee to investigate this, blah, 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 blah. And that maybe has happened or maybe hasn't happened. There's no information available. FIFA is corrupt and secretive as always. Doesn't tell us anything. And then the third legal hurdle, is US Soccer. US Soccer has to agree to this. And they don't and that's ultimately like what you're saying. MLS doesn't like this. MLS doesn't want to have even more competition already. People like the Premier League more and Liga
But I will
MX
say, though,
more than they like MLS. So they don't need any more competition.
Right. But I think that's all one thing, though. Like the three hurdles. Like U.S. Soccer.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, all it does is serve U.S. Soccer's interest to have it not here. And therefore, U.S. Soccer being a member of FIFA and the Spanish FA also being a member of FIFA, that's like a brotherhood or whatever. That's like a courtesy. That's like a brotherhood courtesy or something. So it's in FIFA's best interest to do that, if that makes sense. But the United States of America in general, as a country, is the land of opportunity. If you want to come here to make a buck, it's always legal. So there's no American law that says Spanish teams aren't allowed to go to Miami and make a buck. You know what I mean? Find me that law. There's no law that's like foreign sports groups are allowed to come here and make money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like
there's no law. There's no real law preventing.
no, they're not going to get if Barcelona and
This is a
Atletico
courtesy.
play. They're not going to get arrested. But yeah, I mean, this is
This
obviously
is a FIFA made up policy, pretty much. It's not like it's law. It's not like it's civil law or criminal law here. So I think this is
Yeah,
that's
but
why
what is
to me
that?
kind of all
That's
boils down to
what
the same thing.
what does that mean? That doesn't mean it's
I
the
think
same
it boils
thing.
down to the same thing. It's like Barcelona has interests, and the Spanish FA and U.S. Soccer, their interests are entirely financial. So, like U.S. Soccer would be like, we make more money when we have exclusivity to our domestic league. Spanish FA, it's like we make more money when our teams don't make their money outside of our country.
No,
And
no, but the
FIFA, I
Spanish
guess,
league, no, the Spanish league is in favor. Spanish league wants this to happen.
oh, then it's the opposite. Then it means that when this happens, we make more money. That's what I'm saying. Money is the motivator here.
For the
so
for the Spanish.
for everybody.
Yeah, so,
For everybody. The reason U.S. Soccer doesn't want to hear it because it threats their business model. The reason the Spanish want to hear is because it's a potentially new revenue source for them,
right.
right? And FIFA being the
you
papa
know,
organization of both
enhances
of
the
them
brand.
enhances the brand. And FIFA is the father organization of both of them. So technically they're the referee, right? They should act as referee here.
But I
in the
believe
world of
also
soccer.
U.S. Soccer has to agree to this. I don't think they can just.
But that I'm sure they do, but that must be a FIFA regulation of some sort. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all FIFA. It's all made up.
I'm not. I don't
So-
know what you're. I don't know what you're trying to say.
What I'm saying is, if I'm the president of Barcelona, and if the Spanish FA gives me the go-ahead, I can call Miami, the Hard Rock Stadium, and be like, "Hey, can we book you for the August 19th?" And then go play the game over there. It's perfectly legal. It's not breaking any laws.
Legal in the sense like the police, FBI is not going to step in, but it's
Right?
not.
They're only
but
going
unless
against
US
FIFA policy,
unless US Soccer sanctions it, I don't think they can. I don't think they can do that.
But you understand? I understand what you're saying in principle. Then it would be like an unsanctioned game or something. But all this is just them agreeing to. It's just an agreement, right? It's just an agreement, kind of. FIFA's the soccer world governing body. They govern the sport, and then they set regulations and stipulations that I guess serve everyone's financial interests, right? Am I explaining FIFA generally enough? So if Spain wants to go play a game, FIFA has to act as ref, so they have to decide whose financial interests are more important, the Spanish FA's or U.S. Soccer's. And also what kind of implications it'll have. I think what they're afraid of, and maybe it's just me, is the slippery slope argument, where it's like, well, if Barcelona plays a game there, because I know England debate. Remember England tried to do the 39th game or whatever, the global game everywhere.
Right. But that
And,
is
you know,
not,
when I
that's
was in-
really
and-
off the table. Yeah.
Yeah, but also look at the NFL and NBA and how they do. Like they're
Yeah,
crushing.
they
with
do
it.
this. They do this all the time. Yeah.
They're doing it. It's working great. So
And
soccer's
that's,
like, why not us? And what's funny about the United States is European soccer is very popular here. American soccer is not
Yeah.
popular here.
No,
but
this would be a
European
big.
soccer is
This would be a
popular
big
here.
deal.
So I think
Um,
U.S. soccer's only motivation is to like just control their market pretty much.
So you
FIFA
think
has
is this
to
going to
make a
happen?
decision-
Is this going to happen December 22nd?
Well, FIFA has to make a decision of what makes more money: Spain coming or Spain not coming. And I think if it makes more money, they're going to have to say yes, right? I mean, could U.S. Soccer have the power to veto a FIFA decision? I don't think so. U.S. Soccer answers to FIFA. They're a sub association.
Well, but it's there. I mean, they have just yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I mean,
And also,
there's
if
no way.
there's a dispute, how does that get solved? Is there a court they go to? You know what I mean? I don't know how that gets solved.
It's that court we were talking about last week. The court
Right.
of arbitration.
This is an extension of what I talked about last week, where I don't 100% understand the legality of all this stuff. And like, 'cause you're talking
Yeah,
about
and
stuff
I don't
like
think
the
I don't
hurdle,
think
legal
I don't think
hurdles.
you're alone. I don't think it.
I'm like-
I don't think we fully. I don't think anybody fully understands. And it's less a legal issue in the sense that
It's
like the
stipulations, it's regulations.
The police,
right?
the police are not
Right.
going to get involved. But
But do you understand what I'm talking about? Like, I'm just curious about because if Barcelona and the Spanish league have made a decision to yes, we want to go to America, and make it, to me it's very weird that U.S. Soccer is allowed to tell them no. I'm like, it's legal. It's like it's not against American law, so I don't, So I'm just like, what's the
Well, if
what's the situation
any soccer game that happens in America is under the auspices of U.S. Soccer.
Right, via just regulations. I think that's just the rules if you're a FIFA member. But you also have to agree to that. It's not like no one's enforcing that. That's just an agreement. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like if they decide to go rogue, there'll be any real penalties about it. I think it's just a courtesy at the end of the day.
Well, we will find out because this is a.
Are you telling me it's going to happen in 2 months? No,
I don't
probably
think
not.
so. No,
Simply
it can't.
because it's hard to organize that in 2 months in general.
There's
You
so
have to give it a
many.
year
I mean,
out.
yeah, there's so many questions.
I also am very curious as to the difference in numbers. Like when I think about that, I'm like, how much money are they making? Because that means they have to refund all their tickets they sold at home, fly over.
Apparently,
here.
that's not that big a problem because from what I read, because this is another quirk about Spain versus, for example, Germany, is that people don't travel. People don't travel. There's no road support really ever in La Liga. People don't go to games. Half of Barcelona's season ticket holders decided to suspend their season tickets for this period because they didn't want to travel 3 miles to the or however far it is to the alternate location.
Because their new state.
And they're like, oh, we're just gonna wait. It's fine. We just won't go. We'll just come back when the proper stadium is open. So in that sense, you don't have a lot of there's not a lot of blowback. Which in Germany, you could just
that would
imagine.
never happen ever.
Yeah, it would never happen. I mean, the fans would just go completely bananas.
Now, from a purist competitive point of view, it makes no sense because the way leagues work is everybody plays each other twice, home and away, right? And that's what keeps it even for everybody too. So this makes sense that Barcelona can call it a home game, right, or something. So on paper, it's just another home game. But they have all this mileage. It's not a real home advantage. It's a neutral venue.
Yeah.
So from a competitive
they would have a
standpoint,
lot
it kind
of
of
fans
ruins.
there, yeah.
But from a competitive standpoint, it kind of ruins the purity of the competition. Like if some teams can go play other parts of the world real quick,
I think
it
that's
kind of makes
probably
the league a little unbalanced.
That's probably a bit of a stretch. I think this is more of a disadvantage to them versus playing in their like temporary stadium where half of their fans don't want to come to. Like
that is part of the equation, the fact that they don't have a home stadium right now. So if they're going to do it,
well,
now.
that's why this is that's why there's this urgency. It's where like this would be a great one. This would work well for us, but there's a lot to overcome.
Come to LA. I want to go. I want to see. They can make 100. They can fit 100,000 people at the Rose Bowl. If they came to LA, and they probably could.
Atletico, they would sell it out for Barcelona.
For Barca Atletico, I think they could pull it off. Make more money that way.
If it was
also
counting, yeah. In England, in England, this is not happening. In Germany, this is not happening. Italy, apparently, I didn't know this, but I found this out in reading about this that they've played their Super Cup all over the world. They've played it in Washington D.C. They played it in Saudi Arabia. Oh, the other wrinkle to the
wait a minute, Super Cup in Washington D.C.
I think they had it.
Is that a preseason tournament?
In the 90s. I mean, it's like the Super. It's like the Cup winner versus the.
Yeah, okay.
It's like basically the 39th game of Italy.
It's not the Copa.
I think they had according to this article I read, they had this in Washington in the 90s at some point. It's not every year that it goes someplace, but they've had it all over the world. The other little funny wrinkle is that Rubiales, the now disgraced Spanish FA president, he after deciding that they couldn't play games in America, he then sold the Super Cup to Saudi Arabia, and there's currently a lawsuit. Corruption lawsuit connected to that whole situation. So,
well, I remember that when the Copa del Rey final there or something. There was some with
it was the Spanish
competition.
Super Cup. Is it called the?
So it was also the preseason.
It was also their Super.
That's
Cup.
Not that big of a deal.
I think they made it
if it's a preseason thing.
I mean, it's not except whatever. Yeah, you were texting me this week about how U.S. soccer is so corrupt and mismanaged. It's like it's every FA in the world seemingly.
I need to get this job. It is the coolest job. Chuck Blazer, the great American FIFA executive, that man is my hero. That man is my hero. He was some high school soccer dad from the Bronx who didn't know anything about sport. I think he lived his entire career without watching one game. He didn't know anything about the sport. He was a marketing guru. He made money off of it. and then he climbed back in the 70s. There was only like, you know, if you want to get in soccer in the 70s, he climbed up to be a FIFA executive, and he made so much money, and his job was fly around the world, eat all day. He owned 2 apartments in Trump Tower, one for him and one exclusively for his cats. He just had an apartment with 30 cats in it. And all he did was just make ridiculous amounts of money, travel the world. I'm just like, man, how does Stefan get that good? How does Stefan get that job? You know what I mean? Granted, he was found out by the FBI later and had to turn state's evidence and all that stuff. That part, I'm not a fan. But the way he lived life,
the shunned and disgraced for corruption, that part you're not interested in.
I know it did go well for him.
Everything up to that point.
But yeah, can you imagine? What a great life, just to live that corrupt FIFA life. Anywho.
Well, yeah,
dream,
all right.
Dream.
Okay, I think we've done it. Yeah.
Oh,
you got something else?
2-0? Yeah, USA lost to Mexico 2-0.
I was not going to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up.
All I'm saying is it's not even worth talking about it. I don't want to ignore it, but it's a friendly. They sent Pulisic home. A bunch of people had stupid opinions about that. I don't really care. It was a friendly. Would I like to have played a little harder, get a tie? Sure. They didn't. It's 2-0. Who cares? Let's move on. Poch just started. Brendan Aronson had a rough game.
There is a
that our players aren't very good. It's like, yeah, but it was also our B team. Our key players weren't even there.
Well, that was the narrative right away. It's like, oh, this is the B team. It's like
no Pulley, no Tyler, no Weston, no Gio.
Okay, all right.
Pulley, no Timo Weah, no Timo Weah.
Pulley is the one. Pulley is the one I accept. Everybody else, Gio and Tyler Adams. They have a ways to go before you should like just sort of pencil them into the starting lineup, right? They've played so little, and
when Tyler Adams is healthy, he's our captain.
Yeah,
when
is he healthy? He's not healthy.
True, but a selection of our key players were missing.
Okay.
Serginho,
I thought it was funny how that was immediately kind of, oh yeah, it was a B team. I'm like, all right, there's a lot of starters on this team, but anyway, we'll see.
But it was also a friendly in Guadalajara. Who cares?
2-0.
Yeah, they reversed 2-0 us.
The Aiden Morris, what's his name? Buzio midfield is not it.
Yeah, Buzio. Right. Yeah, it does. It does. I don't want to talk about it. It does a 2-0 loss. Poch is just getting started, figuring it out. I know. I brought up to say I want to mention it real quick, but not talk about it. Okay. Because like everyone's been like, Pulley should have never been sent home, and boop boop ba ba ba. I'm like, shut up. Pulley was the hero for AC Milan this weekend. Thank God.
Alexi Lalas lost his.
No, he just did that on purpose to get hit.
Lost it about the load management.
Alexi Lalas never offers his real opinion. He's only looking to get hits. Well, so he's like, what a great opportunity for me to offer some dumb rant that's not reflective of my opinion to get hits. And then it spread like wildfire, like always. Anywho,
one thing I will say, one thing I will say about that game and both of those games is like you would think, people have been saying, oh, the effort isn't there. They're a little. It's like you would have thought they would try a little harder to impress the new guy.
Yeah, that game really sucked. It was bad. We had a good solid 20 minutes. The rest of the game was just really bad, and I was like, oh. But I'll tell you that their goal came off a foul that should have never been. One of the players did not get carded. He shoved one. Remember there was that fight? It's like you give him a red card for that. You should have been sent. He wasn't sent off. It's like it's just like that Bochum Hoffenheim situation. It's like this could have been scoreless. Could have been 1-1. It ended up being 2-0. It was kind of poopy game. The Americans did not have the fight you want. That's been an ongoing issue for a while now.
Yeah, and I think
there you go.
That's a big thing, and it's not, and it's, yeah. We'll
but right now, some players' stocks are going up. Brandon Vasquez came on, Zendejas came on, and thank God, because Zendejas was the only guy who cared because it's his league and those are his boys, and he's finally, and that's good because the right stocks are going up and the right stocks are going up. Brendan Aronson did not surround himself with glory in that game. I think his stock took a hit. And that's how it goes. If they wanted to impress the coach, they should have played a little better. All right. We got MLS playoffs, baby. This time next week, we are going to talk MLS playoff results. When do the playoffs start? You said Monday?
Tuesday. Monday. Tomorrow. Today's Monday. Tomorrow and Wednesday are the playing games. Tomorrow we have Montreal against Atlanta United on Wednesday it's Portland and Vancouver. Yeah, Portland
Yeah, and then
Vancouver.
Saturday we got LA Galaxy, Colorado. Okay, so this weekend I think a lot of it kicks off.
We're playing
The other
on
thing we
Monday.
forgot to talk about, the Germany hour is too long. We have Champions League this week as well. It's kicking off tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we got Champions League midweek. We got MLS playoffs on the weekend. Oh boy, it is fun to be a soccer fan in America. Do. You know, foreigners don't understand how good it is. The end of the season is in the fall. The end of the season over there is in spring. So twice a year we got this season of titles. You know, where regular fans. So, let me change that. But European fans only have one season of titles.
Oh,
So there you go. All right, everybody. Cheers. Goodbye. Till
Bye-bye.
next week. Like and
Good
subscribe.
night.
Tell your friends. We're the Schnitzel Boys. Bye-bye.
buy a bucket hat.